Morning, everybody. Welcome to St Ives. The sun stays out, not a cloud in the sky, and as the temperatures hit the 30-degree mark, we're reaching the climax of the 2019 England Touch Nationals here in North Cambridgeshire, and we'll start with the end, so to speak. So if you fancy nipping out, and of course you can take us with you on your phone via the BBC Sport website and app. But if you are heading out, make sure you're back in front of a screen from 1:50 this afternoon for the three finals, starting with the Mixed Open, Women's Open, and then culminating with the Men's Open at 3:40. Before then, though, we start at 8:30 this morning with the Women's Open round-robin match between the Northwest Blades and the West Wildcats, followed at 9:20 by the Men's Open Midlands derby between the Panthers and the Tigers. And then from 10:10, it's knockout time, starting with the Mixed Open semi-final between the unbeaten West Wildcats and the Southwest Saxons. So far, just the semi-finals were decided yesterday for the Mixed Open. So the Wildcats and Saxons I've already mentioned. The other one is the Southeast Sharks against the Northwest Blades. And the Sharks and the other Southeast team, the Taipans, have been leading the way in both the Men's Open and the Women's Open. So in the Men's Open, the Sharks and the Taipans are confirmed in the semi-finals, with the other two spots going to two of the Northwest Blades, Midland Tigers and Southwest Saxons. Meanwhile, in the Women's Open, the Taipans and the Sharks have been joined by the Midlands Tigers in the semi-finals, and there's two teams vying for the fourth place, and that's the West Wildcats and the Northwest Blades. I'm joined this morning by England Touch Chief Operating Officer Greg Cropper. Greg, you're resplendent in yellow because you've been refereeing this weekend. You know, we've been talking about how hard it is for the players, but how hard has it been for the referees?
Yeah, it's been difficult with the course of the weekend. 3 or 4 days, 3 or 4 games per day for most of the referees, just because of the heat. The first game, everyone wants this first time slot because it's just nice. Between 2 and 3 o'clock.
You haven't got that one. I just hasten to...
No, I haven't. No, unfortunately not. No, I needed to pull some strings there. But yeah, it's been fantastic. There's a big group of referees. The officiating's been really good. We've got some good referee coaches helping out, and the teams have been really kind of respondent to the things that we're doing as well. So yeah, it's been fantastic.
You're one of the England players in the mixed 30s as well, who was out at the World Cup. I was chatting to Peter Fassenden here yesterday, and he was telling me that referees can hit up to 17 Ks during a day like this. What's harder in terms of on the body? Is it the refereeing or the playing?
It's just a different kind of working through the day. So in terms of the 40 minutes when you're on the game as a referee, you're never coming off. You're either on-field referee or support referee at the side, so you're constantly moving up. Whereas, but it's a lot more lateral movement, and there's not, you're not stepping and you're not diving and them kind of body impact stuff. Whereas on the playing side, you do get more rest because you're coming off on your substitution. But the game management and the way it works on your body is different. So yeah, distance-wise, probably I've ran more as refereeing, but body impact-wise, it's a different thing, really.
We're at the end of the domestic season. I mean, taking outside the seniors and masters nationals in a couple of weeks in Nottingham, but the domestic season is wrapping up, and it started all off back in Malaysia in April. So it's been a massive 6 to 8 months for England Touch, hasn't it?
It just seems to a blink of an eye, where we started in like I say, Malaysia, and then gone through all of the elite series, the domestic season and everything, and we kind of culminating in this kind of big touch weekend here in Cambridgeshire. So yeah, it's been a fantastic year. The domestic season is growing exponentially in terms of number of teams entering. The elite level is just getting more and more teams vying for those top spots. It's not really kind of they'll win this time, which has been fantastic to see as well.
Any particular highlights stand out for you?
I think I've been playing as well this season, so my club's done quite well in a couple of the tournaments, so we're top of the table in the development series, so hopefully the next one, I'm not playing in it, so I'll see how the boys go in there, boys and girls go. I think some of the elite, the mixed series, the BBR games versus Custard and CSSC, those kind of teams that are then pushing them, and Nottingham are now in that kind of top 4 or 5 category, those finals have been absolutely fantastic to watch, so yeah, excellent.
Talking of fantastic finals, been talking about how the Southeast Sharks and Taipans have been leading the way. Do you expect them to make the finals today? And if so, who do you think will come out on top?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a Southwest derby for the women's. The men's, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be semi-final. There's a pool round of the men's games today, then there's the semi-finals. If Northwest Blaze beat Taipans in that semi-final, it'll be Blaze versus Sharks in the final. So, speaking to the boys from the north this morning, they're quietly confident that they're going to beat the Taipans later on. So, we'll see. It's going to be if it is, it's going to be a repeat of 2017. If they don't, it's going to be a repeat of every other season. So, whichever it is, it's going to be a fantastic final.
Well, Greg, thanks for your time. And that men's open final is at 3:40 this afternoon. Just a reminder, the finals start at 1:50 with the mixed open. We're into semi-finals time from 10:10 with the West Wildcats against the Southwest Saxons. But we're starting in just a couple of minutes' time with the women's open, Blades against Wildcats. And if this is the first time that you've watched Touch, here's a little bit of a game outline just to explain what you're going to be watching for the rest of the day.
Touch is a minimum contact sport where the aim is to score more touchdowns than your opposition. Touch team is made up of 6 players on the pitch with up to 8 substitutions. Those 8 substitutions can roll on the pitch at any time. Touch can be made of mixed teams or single gender teams. In a mixed team, there is a minimum of 1 man and a maximum of 3 men on the pitch at any one time. At an international level, touch games are made up of 2 20-minute halves.
Half-time, girls.
But at all levels you can have varying different half lengths and periods of time.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, but it's a slight shame. But they're doing their basics incredibly well, getting us down the park and getting us into a scoring situation almost every driving step. The thing for me is really the team cohesion. That winning these games, winning gold was never the goal for these boys. My goal for them was to get as many of the age-appropriate lads into the men's open training squad for 2020. And it's just fantastic to watch some of them really click, really start to play to their full potential. And I'm going to work very hard with the men's open coaches to make sure the boys that are of an appropriate age get a shot at the opens level.
It's been tough, but the result is exactly what we wanted. I'm incredibly proud. It was a really good campaign, and we've been very blessed with a very good cohesive team that has all worked together incredibly well, but couldn't have done anything without the assistant coaches of Keish and Catherine and Matt managing, and all the background help from the high performance team and Pippa. 13 debutants is probably a record for any junior touch team. I think I lost quite a few of the kids from last year, went up into 18s, managed to hang on to 3. The team just gelled straight away. We got working with lots of teamwork and they just did brilliantly.
Bronze first year, and then we've had silver last year, and then we've done it. We've finally got the gold. So I could not be more proud of such an amazing group and so much youth and talent in that team. We've got 3 14-year-olds winning mixed 18s. It's incredible. Like, the future for England Touch is, it starts here and it's looking really, really bright.
Business as usual, I must say. I'm quoting Sammy Phillips, High Performance, who has just said that, we've been professional throughout the whole tournament. They have so much self-belief and they absolutely love working for their team and putting on that England jersey.
Couldn't be happier. This has been a sensational weekend for England Touch. 4 gold medals.
Well, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and here we go, the third and final day of the Touch Nationals Juniors and Opens, and we begin in the women's competition as Northwest Blades take on the West Wildcats, and this is a day where it's the business end of the competitions. 2 more pool games and then we're straight into the knockouts. We'll have the semi-finals, 3rd, 4th playoffs, and then 3 back-to-back finals. You don't want to leave your TV screens for the rest of the day. It's going to be absolutely superb stuff. And at the moment, Northwest Blades looking to try and get the first score on the board. But turnover early on, and now first chance for the West Wildcats to get up the other end of the field and stretch their legs after 2 gruelling days of touch rugby in this searing heat. And again, it's going to be another hot day in Cambridgeshire. And at the moment, the West Wildcats looking to try and get the first score, and they look good to do so. Well, what a start for the West Wildcats. They are 1 up inside the opening minute and a half. Brilliant play. Lovely movement. And the dive came early, made short. They got the dive in early, Catherine Brown-Williams. And that's the first score of the morning. And I'm delighted to say, joining myself, Bradley Hope, I have Chris Wehrmouth next to me. Chris, this is the business end of the weekend. It all comes down to today. It's been 2 long days of gruelling competition. We have 2 more pool games for you, and then we're straight into the do or die situations.
Well, actually, it's do or die for the Blades this morning. As I said in the intros, that they need to win to keep their semi-final hopes alive, really. Otherwise, you're waiting for other results to have to go your way. And disappointing for them, first thing, to concede a score in that way. I mean, it was well constructed by the Wildcats. Some pretty simple straight running and then offloading and drawing in the winger to create the space on the far side. As far as the Blades are concerned, they're going to want to tighten that up and to be maybe a little bit more aggressive in defence. Would have helped shut that down. But yeah, I mean, finals day always has a little bit extra. You find out whether teams have been keeping things in reserve, both in terms of their tactics, but also in terms of energy. We saw last weekend at the Junior Touch Championships on the finals day, England's teams, particularly the mixed 18s and the mixed 15s, both, they both noticeably stepped up in their final when they got there against Wales and pulled more things out of the locker. So that's going to be the really interesting thing as we go. Delighted to see the Wildcats mixed team do very well. It's good to see a lot of competition across the country as far as that tournament's concerned. But the Southeast teams have been delivering some massively high quality.
Well, the Wildcats looking to try and get up the other end and get the double score, but it's turnover inside their own half. Northwest Blades now the opportunity to try and get back into it. They had the first attack, but it's been all the Wildcats since then. And here come the fresh recruits. Nicola Weiss also coming on over the halfway line. They come. Good momentum, directly running through the middle, trying to put pressure on this Wildcats defence early on over the 10-metre mark.
Yeah, for the Blades, the other 3 teams I was mentioning in the preamble, so the Taipans, Sharks and Tigers in the Women's Open, they can relax in this opening game. It doesn't matter what the result is. They know their semi-final spots. They know who they're likely to play. As far as the Blades, though, they're going to have to extend themselves physically. So later on in the day, that could start to against them at least. It is still relatively cool here, and I do use the word relatively in the loosest sense of the word because it is hot already.
Yeah, it's only going to get warmer as well. It's been stifling hot over the last couple of days, and the Wildcats, well, they might know their fate at the moment, but they are putting all the pressure at the moment on the Northwest Blades, still wanting to carry that momentum throughout the day. And it's an interesting one, even though they know that they're going to be going through. They don't want to be losing that momentum, do they, Chris?
Not at all. That's you just want to keep scoring. Realistically, I mean, the Wildcats women are going to have a playoff later. I mean, everybody has multiple games, even if they're not going to make the overall semi-finals. So for them, they can just go out and enjoy it this weekend, and know some of the characters in that squad. They're going to go out and really enjoy it. They've got a strong camaraderie in the West. There's a couple of clubs, Revolution in particular, on the outskirts of Birmingham, who have come from scratch really to compete in the Belief National Touch Series at mixed level, and so as I say, they train together quite a lot at club level. They and they train together a lot at regional level, and they're just going to want to have a good time today.
Welcome the Northwest Blades turnover though, and that's again, it seems to be just good momentum up until midway between the 5 and 10, and just losing that lack of composure. I know it's very early in the morning, 8:30 start here in Cambridgeshire. So they'll just be wanting to just try and get the blood pumping again.
Yeah, as far as the Blades are concerned, they just need to get their driving game going. They just need to really put the pressure on the Wildcats. We saw that a good bit of pace there from the Wildcats has stretched, pulled in the defender and has created the space out wide, and it's the Wildcats who've got the pace going. Blades have worked their way up proficiently, and they're not going to use not really stronger than that. Their error rate so far is pretty low, which is good, but at the same point is that they're not really asking too many questions of the Wildcats defence. Although, I mean, they do have a couple of youngsters, and that may come into play a little bit later. But as I say, they just need to run hard, run fast, run straight, and try and get round through the back of the Wildcats initially. And then, as the Wildcats start to tire later in the game, that's the point where you can then start to stretch them left and right.
So still only that solitary score then. The Northwest Blades looking to try and look inside their own half. This is good pressure early on though by the Wildcats, but lovely pass out to this near side, just opening it up, and this is good momentum again, but let's see if they can use it this time. Trying to work some space, needing the support back inside now. Carly Wynn is in the middle there.
See, all of a sudden it's just slowed down. It's slowed down a little bit too far out. So the Blades want to be doing that kind of play 10 metres further up the line. Now what they've got a penalty there for a heavy touch. So it is, the touch is a minimal contact sport. So that was a big heavy shove, as we saw just then. So they've kind of got away with one there. That had yin and yang in terms of, the driving past the sub-box was really good. Lots of good momentum. And this is going to be another penalty for another. And there's a that's a forced sub there for the second heavy touch in quick succession. Samantha Powell's from the aforementioned Revolution. But now all of a sudden, this is the point where Blades will want to start to stretch left and right, try and create some space in the Wildcats' rear guard. Good dive, but it was short of the line, so that's going to count as a touch there. But that's the point where to have those the slower plays, the more static plays, the ones to try and stretch, create some space, and they were just a wee bit too far out.
Yeah, this is a bit better by the Blades, looking to try and stretch the defence, although going into a more middle route. Just taking the time now. And there comes the play, looking to go right. Oh, and just leaving it just too late. You could see the run coming in. Oh, the turnover now for the Wildcats, so this time around they defend well. Although the Northwest Blades looking to try and get through, and a bit more dangerous on that attack.
Really well defended there by Wildcats. You saw the first set of D is that while Blades had the interplay between the two players, and that's it's a loss of control there. Thought that it hadn't been spotted, but so the way the Wildcats defended that first one is they flooded the players up, and then the second time is that they then had one player going up. Claire Rylance was the single player going up, and everybody else just sat back a little bit in the pocket and went and worked their way up very slowly. So good mixing and matching, and that's going to ask questions to the Blades attack as well. They need to try and find a way through that because they're, as I say, different defensive patterns.
This is a bit more bit more pressure now being applied by the Northwest Blades, trying to stretch this Wildcats defence and actually soaking it up well, but at the moment Blades having the momentum here. Can they try and force something over the line? Space potentially opening up on the wide, but it reaches out on that far side somehow, and everyone sort of seemed to pause and stop, and it is one apiece. Let's have another look at this on the replay again.
That's why you should always play until the whistle, because that's lovely awareness there from Alana Gauntlet, who was out in Paris last weekend, the Corinne Nantwich youngster, still in the under-18s category. She was out with the girls 18s, winning gold in Paris last weekend. So yeah, great awareness, because the ball just rebounded. Could have gone anywhere off the defender. I mean, worst case, Blades would have had a fresh set of 6 there. But you've just got to be alert to the situation, and then also to realise, okay, I'm over the goal line. Let's get a ball down, and what's the worst that can happen? And so lovely awareness.
Yeah, just what the Northwest Blades deserve after putting the pressure on the Wildcats in those couple of minutes, and now they're winning their sails, looking to try and get the ball out wide, and as soon as I say that, they give the ball away. So now a chance for the Wildcats, and a bit of time just to relieve a bit of pressure and try and force it up themselves now. And again, looking to go out to that right-hand side, space opening up, and it was an important touch. They were looking to get away then. Lucy Neal Hook.
So a lot of experience and know-how. Danielle Powley-Williams, who's got the ball at the minute, was out with the women's 35s at the World Cup, winning bronze. So there's quite a few older heads in this Wildcats group, and we're starting to see that come into play now as just they start to set things up.
Yeah, Sophia Luxton looking to try and drive through then, making that arcing run, and now in support is Ellie Lewis. Luxton just spreading out to the right-hand side. Luxton again, space opening up, and it just, the heavens opened, the parting of ways, and saw the space and attacked it well.
Yeah, it's some nice bit of play all round there from the attack. What happened was that she came in on the, on the tight run there, Sophia Luxton, but there were a couple of other players around her, and so from a defensive perspective, you're not quite sure whereabouts everybody's going to go, so you have to mark up, and then the defence just got stretched just to open the space up. But it was a lovely bit of play as far as the attack's concerned, just nice direct running, and also hitting the channel back where the defender has to retreat back a good, it's 5 metres, but at a level like this you're looking at more about 6, 7, 8 metres being set by the referees before they're being called onside. So that's the channel, because you can't make the touch. You can't make the touch until you've gone back onside. And so that's the channel that you'll see a lot of people either attack, either on a short run like that, or just in terms of on a scoop maybe. We'll see later in the day, particularly with some of the men's players. But lovely bit of setup play by Wildcats, and they've been asking questions both left and right of the Blades defence.
Yeah, and here they come again, and it's Claire Rylance bursting through the middle. What a fantastic drive, and over the 10 metre mark they go, and really building up a head of steam. Good momentum to this attack. And again, just sneaking through, and what a fantastic little mazy run that was in the end.
Blades are going to be disappointed with this. That's great bit of awareness there from the attacking players there, just to realise that they're not going to make the touch, reaching out, but the defender's a little bit too far out, and then just stepping away from the attempted touch. Lovely bit of play, and again, what we've seen as well, the Blades score, and then that score in particular for the Wildcats, is showing the good awareness of what's around them. So good bit of improvisation.
And the Blades looking to try and respond straight away. A bit of a pile up in the goal area, but a good response still though with the ball, and gonna see if they can try and make this count. Ball out into the middle, and Crossley is there, needs that support. And try to find a teammate, Alana Gauntlet, who got the score for the Blades earlier on in this half. and with that block it's still with the Blades. So fresh set of 6, good opportunity now to try and attack the line. And a Crossley. Evans is also there as well. Here is Daniel Evans over the 5 metre, lovely move to the left hand side, but equally brilliant touch. May Burke. Here is Evans laying it off for Carly Wynn. Here is Carly Wynn, look to go left but opts to go back into the middle and finds Crossley. Daniel Evans is there. And again, another opportunity now for the Blades with a fresh set of 6. They're really putting the pressure on. They seem to have these long spells of pressure. Just need to make it count. Over the 5 metre now. Crossley enters the goal area, needs the support. Can she find that support? She does. And that was well worked. It was patient build-up by the Northwest Blades. And we're back to 3-2 now. Only a point in it.
Textbook scooping. If it's the first time you're watching touch and you're wondering why Wildcats are not going to make the touch on the player who's got the ball, it's because she's the half and can't score. So you just let her get to the end of the end zone and then try and defend the people who can score. So the players without the ball. And it's in the defence, the shout you'd hear would be mirrors. And then obviously the onus is then on the attacking team to try and shake loose your defender, which is exactly what happened there. And of course, once you're at the end of the end zone, every pass is backwards. So you can just turn around and look and see. And it gives the attacking player with the ball, great opportunity to turn around a full 180 degrees and try and find whereabouts their supporting runners are.
Now into middle severe Luxton, sort of spaces right and left. Good pressure from the Blades. They look to try and get down that right hand side more often than not, but opted to go left. Here's Luxton. Maybe a chance now on this left hand side this time around. And finished off Olivia Jones for the Wildcats. Good play by Sophia Luxton, really changing the direction and equally quick hands to get the ball out to Jones. And that is 4-2 to the Wildcats. Really nice play.
Oh, that play from Link there, the hands. Under a lot of pressure, 2 defenders on her. The winger shouldn't really have come in. There was a defending player in front of the Link, but she came in to try and force the pressure, force the fumble, or to make a touch. And, lovely hands to get them out wide. So, fantastic skill.
Northwest Blades then having to do it all over again now. Trying to get back to that 1 point. 2.5 minutes remaining. Good pressure again.
So that's a good example of a wrap there, but it's the thing where once you've got the overlap, is to straighten up. And it was one of the things going way back when, and showing my age now, when Philippe Seller was playing for Saracens, is that there was, I think one of their wingers said that they loved playing outside him so much because he straightened the line. As soon as he got in, and he would just run absolutely directly and would give space for the wingers outside. And what happened on that was that, you could see with the wrapping player coming in from the Blades right, is that they then had a 3-on-2. But if you're running diagonally, all of a sudden your 3-on-2 turns into basically 3 attackers and 2 defenders in a limited amount of space, and then you're going to make a touch. So if you're going to have a wrapper come on that, nice play, but come round, go on a bit of an arc, straighten up, and then you've got a 3-on-2 and quick hands, as we saw at the other end. We've seen the Wildcats finish off a 3-on-2 in a lovely situation there. So now all of a sudden, there you go, that's what you want. Straight running. 3-on-2, wingers unmarked, and that hasn't resulted in a score, I don't think, but the principle's there. So all of a sudden we see a straight line from Olivia Harborough there, and the wingers unmarked. And it's just a pity that Lucy-Anne Reddy wasn't just able to finish it off, but that's more like it from the Blades.
So just over a minute to go then, and the Wildcats in control now, and another score before the break, and this will really put them in the driving seat. And they're building up nicely, looking to go out to that right hand side again where they've had so much joy, but it's turned over, final touch, and back in the hands of the Northwest Blades. And this time around, let's see if the Blades can get up the other end of the field in quick time and see if they can force a score over the line. Good headed pressure from the Wildcats deep inside the Blades half. This is what they have to do to try and restrict the touches. Now over halfway, good space to run into. Oh, just a brilliant pick-up in the end. It was a loose pass, but still the Blades full of momentum at the moment. Good early pressure inside their own half from the Wildcats, looking to try and get that ball out to that left-hand side, but again closing the space, and that goes the opportunity. And it looks like it's going to be the 2-point advantage going into the break with just seconds remaining.
Yeah, starting to think about what you're going to be saying at halftime now. Blades have to win. For me, what they need to do is they need to increase their tempo going through the middle, increase a little bit of work rate. You know, in terms of getting the subs on, their subs are coming on. You know, the players who are working to get off need to get over the halfway line before they get off, create space and momentum for the players who are coming back onto, to give them something to run onto. And just with a bit, we've seen them create a couple of chances and not finish them off, but you know, they've done that by just running hard and fast. Nothing more complicated than that really initially, and get a couple of scores, and then look to tire the Wildcats out.
So at the break then, it is the Wildcats who lead by 4 points to 2 in what's been a really entertaining first opening 20 minutes of day 3 here in St Ives. We'll be back for the second 20 minutes in a couple of moments' time.
So the touch is the equivalent of a tackle in rugby union or rugby league. In touch we get 6 of them to try and score a touchdown. Scoring a touchdown, you have those 6 touches and the defence are trying to make all 6 to prevent you from scoring. You can also touch clothing, boots, legs, wherever in order to create that touch. You can have such thing as a hard tackle or a hard touch, which is where you put too much force into the touch. A heavy touch can be made by the attacker or the defender as well. The attacker putting too much force on the initiated touch, or the defender putting too much force into the push of the touch. An attacker can either initiate the touch to stop the defence from making it, or the defence can make the touch themselves. The attacker can make the touch to make a better roll ball and to keep the momentum in the attack. A roll ball is the equivalent of a ruck in rugby union or a roll ball in rugby league. What we're looking for is a clear plant of the ball, no rolling of the ball physically despite it being called a roll ball, and we're looking for the clean ball for the half to come in and either scoop or pass the ball off the deck. So a roll ball is done by putting one part of the body over the ball. So there's 2 ways you can make a roll ball. You can either plant the ball and run through, as in over the top of the ball, or you can plant the ball and swing your foot around the front of it, which is called a quickie, to step to one side or the other faster than having to step all the way over the ball. So the roll ball has to be done where you are touched or initiate the touch. It also has to be placed between the legs, not to one side or the other, so that the ref can clearly see that you've either stepped over the ball or you've swung your foot around the front of it. In the roll ball, the hips of the person putting the ball down have to be square. By that they mean they have to be parallel to the pitch, not facing one side or the other.
So as the players get back into position, only moments away from the start of the second 20 of our opening game of day 3 here in St Ives. This is the women's Northwest Blades versus the West Wildcats, and it's the Wildcats who lead by 4 points to 2 in what is proving to be a potentially big game for the rest of the day.
Well, this is a defining game for these two teams because it is a shootout for who's the full semi-final spot. So at the minute, Wildcats are ahead of Blades in the standings, but they're level on points. So a draw would suit the Wildcats at the minute as well. But really they want to go on and win. And so whoever wins this goes through to the semi-finals and a chance of glory. And for everybody else, they get a playoff game and a chance to relax and soak up the rays a little bit, obviously with some factor 50 on, so they need to stay responsible. I mean, it's been a long weekend in the sun, so what's been really impressive actually is how everybody's managed themselves. The medical tent's been ticking over, but it hasn't been ridiculously busy so far, touch wood. And so that just shows I know that the medical team did a massive amount of education work with the England players before Malaysia, just working around the heat and humidity, and those lessons have obviously been learnt and that knowledge passed on through the system because, as I say, that to have this amount of energy after 2 days of 30-degree competition is fantastic to see.
Yeah, having spoken to players and coaches throughout the weekend who have joined us in the commentary box for the Nationals, they've said the learning and the understanding that they gained from Malaysia and all the work that went into it has almost changed their outset of how they look for future events, and in particular here the Nationals in Cambridgeshire, where it has been incredibly hot over the opening 2 days, and of course looking like we're set for another scorcher today as the North West Blades looking to try and get back into this. Need the next point. They can't be going 3 points down. That'd be a lot of work to try and make up, and looking to try and attack down the right. But good defensive work by the Wildcats, again closing down that attack and nullifying anything from happening on that far side. And just what the Wildcats would have wanted, and now they can try and get back up the other end of the field.
More promising from Blades. They've upped their tempo going through. They've got players on quickly and are looking for the outside and for those arcing runs. But as you say, good defence, good cover defence from Wildcats to track it all and to shut it down 5 metres out. But for Blades initially, as I say, it's a good promising start to the second half. Now, if you're going to kill a game, if you're going to run out of touches, that's exactly the place to do it. Because Blades now, first touch, 10 metres out. If they're going to bring subs on, you can see that players are a little bit unsure as to whether they're coming off and coming on. So fourth touch is coming still in the Blades half, and they're going to have to try and do something very special to break down the Wildcats from here. So fifth touch, the Wildcats have played that really, really well. So even though they've come close to almost a miracle play there, if you've gone from fifth touch 2 metres inside the opposition half, you've got to try and create something basically out of nothing. As I say, that's exactly what you want to do if you're not going to score. That's where to kill it, as far away from the other team sub box as possible.
So a chance now here for the Blades inside the Wildcats half, and this is a good opportunity with a fresh set of 6. So that's one down, looking to try and just creep towards that 5 metre line and try and get themselves into a good position. Good compact players, there's some space potentially up in the left up, and maybe going through the middle this time. The two middles getting pulled apart. That was actually really intelligent play from the Blades, opening it up in the middle and looking like they were going to force something out wide, and in the heads of the Wildcats, the space just opened up in the middle, and that was a good score.
Yeah, not Louisa's car's fault that. She was having to operate within the rules, as that once you make the touch and you start retreating, you've got to carry on retreating on that particular line until you've made your way back to the 5 metres. And the Blades got a great position from the Wildcats, conceding the penalty for overstepping the mark with the with the roll ball, sorry. And but yeah, it was a lovely bit of play there, and just good identification and good knowledge and understanding of the rules in that situation from the attacking perspective, in terms of whereabouts to go through the middle and to exploit that particular rule about the people having to retreat back. Now that, on the other hand, is a good score from the Wildcats, but Blades have been more disappointed because of the amount of passing and interplay that's been going on.
Yeah, it just looked too easy for Sophia Luxton, and going through And no stopping her as well, as the space just opened up. And after all that from the Northwest Blades, getting back to only a point, the Wildcats now have that 2-point advantage restored.
Yeah, Georgia Blessed there just needed to really work harder to get across there. I think, the touch was there to be made, but just a little bit of lack of anticipation, a little bit of, maybe a little bit of lack of awareness of the other defenders. And but if she'd have stepped up the pace, she'd have made that. So, as I say, Blades will be more disappointed than Wildcats in terms of the manner which the last two touches, the last two scores have been conceded.
So the Blades looking to have to do it all over again, sprinting out to this left-hand side, just couldn't be taken there. Elena Gauntlets, and she got a score in the first half, and the ball just fizzed in front of her, and it was almost past her before she could even adjust to try and grab it. And the Wildcats now trying to put the pressure on over their own 10 metre, heading towards halfway. They want to just slow things down slightly. And turned over now. What a waste for the Wildcats. And now the Blades have a chance to try and attack the line again, and they'll be wanting to try and get back to only a point in it.
Yeah, lovely opportunity now for the Blades. You've got plenty of touches on the line. You can try and condition things around a little bit in terms of the defence, so that's not a bad thing to try and do there, even if the touch is going to be made, because you're trying to show one set of cards. It's almost like a bit of a poker game at this situation. And then all of a sudden, with a couple of touches to go, you might show a hand a little bit. You might then have to show your cards as opposed to bluffing a little bit. And this time, though, the Wildcats did very well to hold that out.
Yeah, they've defended well when they've needed to most, and now the Wildcats looking to try and drive up the other end. Here come the fresh faces over towards the Blades 10 metre line, and another score now for the Wildcats, and that would really put them in pole position for a semi-final berth. And this is good running again, trying to put pressure on, stretching it now over to this right hand side. Here's Sophia Luxton back inside to the middle. This is good play from the Wildcats, although turnover and possession, and what a waste that was. They built that one up well, and now they have to defend inside the Blades half.
Yeah, I think it was for a forward pass given in the middle there, but yeah, what Wildcats seem to be able to do more is to create more uncertainty in the Blades defence than the Blades can do in the Wildcats defence. Part of that's down to experience, but and part of it's just in terms of how they're being switched on. But this is going to be an interesting call to see if this is a fresh set of 6 or if this is just a loss of control. Blades were calling for a fresh set of 6, but now this is the one where you'll see that if a defender plays at the ball, it'll be a fresh set of 6. If they haven't played at it, then it's just a turnover. So the ball got then passed into the Wildcats player, and hence why it's a turnover and not a fresh set of 6. So, but you can see why the Blades were asking for it, but a good call by the ref.
And here come the Wildcats again. Maybe some space opening up on this left-hand side. Can they use it well? Up to go back inside. Important touch comes in the end. Nicola Wise getting that crucial touch in on Pauli Williams. Now into the middle for Sophia Luxton. Pauli Williams again. And Luxton and Williams combining again, and she goes over for the line, but it won't count this time around. But the Wildcats are threatening.
They are. They're conditioning the Blades up really nicely and creating space. That's what they want. They're creating the overlaps. They're creating that metre and that extra half yard of space, and just not able to capitalise on it on that occasion. But very positive in how they're approaching it and in what they're achieving.
And here come the Blades then, looking to try and get a score, get back into the game. Again themselves looking to try and do something different. Can they try and work this Wildcats defence that have been very stubborn at times and well organised, and again can't find a way through. At the moment we're lacking some scores, and at the moment it's because both defences holding out strong.
penalty conceded there for a heavy touch by the Blades. But yeah, I've been very impressed by the Wildcats' defence. You know, they've got a number of defensive patterns, as I was saying in the first half. You know, whether they send multiple defenders up or just the one defender up. But regardless, is that in a situation like that, is you need your middles to stay calm and to know who you're defending, and that's exactly what they've done in that situation. Be interesting to see what the call is here. Yeah, there's been a forced sub for that playing through for the way that was disrupted. That was deliberate there in the play of the ball.
Here's Claire Rylance then. Looking to try and find some space and laying it off for Samantha Powers. Powers looking to go out left. Oh, it's just almost slipped out of her hands as she was trying to pass it over to that far side. The winger was in acres of space to try and get over the line. That could have been a potentially crucial score. It was Catherine Brown-Williams, already has one to her name this morning.
That's one that's really gone begging, hasn't it? And I mean, the Blades have now committed a cardinal error there, but you know, for as far as Wildcats were concerned, they did. They again capitalising on Blades not being aggressive enough in defence. You know, you just don't try and hang off on the touch. Just make it. Create some time for everybody. Create a bit of, you know, force the Wildcats to have to play. And in that situation, the Blades just weren't aggressive enough in D. And as a result, you know, they could have, you know, Wildcats could have gone and scored.
And again, left frustrated. The Wildcats looking to get this score that could potentially kill off the game. Claire Rylance is in the middle now, alongside Lauren Torley. Claire Rylance again. Played out to the right-hand side. Elizabeth Dorey back into Claire Rylance. Lauren Torley again. Those three linking up nicely. Potentially a chance to open it up here. And it looks like the Wildcats have got the score that they've been trying and wanting to get for the last couple of minutes. And that could be a crucial one in the context of this game and for the rest of the day. And you can see the delight in Claire Rylance's reaction as well. Absolutely buzzing with that one.
When we looked at the others, when the Blades got shut out at the other end, Wildcats had knew who they were marking in the middles. What we saw then from the Blades defence there is you had two players coming in on the one player, and in terms of on the one mid, and the Blades left mid didn't need to come in and to make that touch because the Wildcats player was marked. So she's come in, and in doing so, she's then created a simple 2-on-1. And I think, just to go back to what I was saying earlier on, is that I think if, you know, in terms of how, I mean, that's a good score by Blades, really good score. But if you're Wildcats, you're not too, you know, a lovely bit of rugby skill to get that finished off, and with the pass and making the most of the 2-on-1. But you know, if somebody scores on the outside of you like that, you know, you're not happy, but you're okay with it, as opposed to the way that Blades have been conceding through the middle. But that said, you know, that I thought that previous one was going to put it to bed, but it's not. You know, two scores difference with 7 minutes to play, still a relative lifetime.
Yeah, just what the Northwest Blades would have wanted. Perfect response after that 3-point gap had opened up, and just had a bit of a lull in terms of the scoring, and now we get two in the space of a minute. And Wildcats just getting away with one there, looking now to go out to the left-hand side, slowing things down a tad, but timing that pass nicely, just getting a few yards towards the 5 metre. Now looking to go to the left-hand side. Are they beaten through the middle? They're not. But again, nice build-up play again from the Wildcats. And looking to try and utilise it again. Here's Lauren Torley laying it off. And a pop pass back out to the far side. And it was easily intercepted. And now the Blades looking to get themselves up the other end. And you can see the urgency. Although, look at this pressure, early pressure from the Wildcats. Trying to restrict them into their own half.
Key difference for the Blades this time is they're not running a subbing move. They're driving, and all of a sudden, third touch, now you're deep in the, and that's going to be, that's a turnover for loss of control. But the Blades did exactly the right thing there. They just put the hammer down and went. You know, after the Wildcats had if they'd have scored from that bit of barbarian style, then that would have been great for them. But nevertheless, they knew that it was the final touch. They knew that it was the final touch, and that's the right place to kill it. So, but then Blades just then shooting themselves in the foot after doing, as I say, doing everything right and getting up the field very quickly.
Yeah, Olivia Jones with another brilliant run, and the Wildcats in a position now to try and attack the line. Claire Rylance, options to the left of her, goes to left, and maybe some space now opening up to finish the job off. Looks like it's going to be given. It certainly is.
Straight running by Claire Rylance has created that, because she's just held the Blades defender, Anna Crossley. She's just held her just in the middle there, and then all of a sudden that's then created that 3-on-2. So remember the first half we were talking about how the Blades had run that angle. What we've seen them do quite well in the second half is to run straight. But if you just run straight from the start, it makes life a hell of a lot easier for the wide players outside to finish off. Good finish. Not going to call it just yet, but with 4.5 to play, Blades have still got now have a mountain to climb.
Yeah, important now for the Blades to try and strike back again early. Can they do so? Looking to potentially open up. Good touch by Sophia Luxton. Important touch. And that stifles that attack, and you can see the frustration there in the Blades. They needed that score to just get some momentum back, and now the Wildcats, I should say, looking to try and force them way back up to the field, other end. And Sophia Luxton always driving on up and seeing some fresh faces coming on. Good momentum in this attack at the moment, and at the moment they're looking like well on course for a semi-final spot. Over the 5 metre, and just lack of almost just flighting that pass from Lauren Torley, and turnover now, and the Blades really need to go at it now. Can't be affording to waste any more opportunities. Space to run into, opting to go direct through the middle, over halfway. Touch is running out though. Getting towards the 10 metre, lovely grab, and managed to use her full momentum to drive the team on just a little bit more, but needs something now, and that was the 6th and final touch. So opportunity goes, and it needed to be something special there, and they couldn't produce it.
Yeah, it's getting into the realms of needing the miracle play now. So if Wildcats can run through this full set of 6, and I think this game's over, because all of a sudden then Blades will have 2 minutes to score, and they'll have to create the third possession, because with three touchdowns, the difference, but also is that Blades can't afford to draw; they have to win. So I think this one, Wildcats definitely deserve the plaudits from this one. They have played very well. They've asked lots of, they've had differences of approach. They've mixed and matched in terms of attack. They have gone wide, but it's been created by straight running in the middle. They've opened up the Blades in the middle as well with some, some clever attacking, but also, see how all of a sudden they've got. I mean, the classic case in point just there from Yeli Powley-Williams and Claire Rylance. They're just stretching the Blades seemingly at will, and they definitely deserve the win that's coming their way in the semi-final spot that looks to be coming along with it.
Yep, so just under 2 minutes then remaining, and the Wildcats have all but secured that semi-final berth, and the Blades still going, still believing, looking to try and force them way up towards the halfway. Some subs come on now, good yards made up, pressure from the Wildcats, hunting in packs, now over the 10 metre mark they come. Still driving, still forcing something. Oh, a lovely little feint away, and now potentially space opening up on the left. But the opportunity goes begging once again, and that's just almost been the story for the Northwest Blades. They've driven well and tried to create opportunities, but that final pass or final thinking has just been off this morning.
Wildcats have been a well-oiled machine this morning, and Blades have been fitting and starting, a bit of sputtering, they could do with and that's been the key difference, really. Wildcats just got straight into gear.
Yeah, it was always going to be who was especially at 8:30 in the morning, first game on day 3. Who was going to be the more alive? Who was going to be switched on to go straight from the off? And the answer has been the Wildcats, and they're now only 20 seconds away from booking a semi-final place. So, comprehensive performance for the West Wildcats, and with the hooter going any second now. There it goes. So final piece of play. And there goes the touch. And there comes the win for the West Wildcats, and they have booked a place in the semi-finals then. Well, the women's semi-final will be bringing you one of those semi-finals at 12 o'clock, and of course the women's final at 2:45. That'll be coming up later on in the day. But next up, we'll go to the men's, and it's an all Midlands affair as you see the Midlands Panthers taking on the Midlands Tigers. That'll be coming up next.
Players and officials, stand by.
So here we go then, second game of day 3 here in Cambridgeshire. And we now turn our attention to the men's side as we see an all Midlands affair. Midlands Tigers taking on the Midland Panthers. And it is the Panthers looking off to get to the perfect start this morning. Panthers really applying the early pressure so far. Another great touch though, just on the line. And it would be a turn up for the Bucks if the Panthers can outdo the Midlands Tigers this morning. The Tigers side, even though packed full of youth, is an experienced side as well. 2 Maynards, Matthew and Oliver, and then Samuel missing, Will Lupton, Collier Berman, Tyrrell, all youngsters in this Tigers side, but then also packed full of experience alongside Matthew Sandler, Glenn Jones, Nicholas Ferns. It's a team packed to the rafters of youth and experience. And the Panthers have got a job on their hands, although they've got some players that could do some damage. Matthew Dietz in the middle now, spreading it quickly. This is a nice start to the Panthers and just holding on. Good support around the back. Thomas Pollard, but turnover in possession back into the favour of the Midland Tigers. James Butcher doing well, trying to come forward. Over the 10-metre mark, good yards made up. How you doing?
Well done, lads, well done.
So still scoreless then between Midlands Panthers and the Midlands Tigers. Tigers looking to try and get up towards their own 10-metre. Good pressure. Here's Ollie Maynard laying it off. And the 2 brothers, Ollie and Matty, in the middle there, trying to conjure up something. Sam Missing's now come on. Glenn Jones is also there. Here is Sam Missing. Always looking to try and break through again. He was looking forward to this one, speaking on the commentary yesterday afternoon. Was trying to get a well-earned rest before, of course, today. We have the knockout stages coming up a bit later. But the Panthers at the moment holding their own. And you see in your picture, Jack Hawken, the youngster, the 18-year-old. He was out of the Junior Touch Champs last weekend. I'm delighted to say, joining me for this one from West Wildcats after the opening game this morning, I have Sophia Luxon. Sophia, how are you doing?
Ah, yeah, good. Just catching my breath after that game.
Yes.
Oh, he's just got through.
And the Midlands Panthers need the support. Where is it going to come from?
Oh.
Has the touch just come in? It has, just in the nick of time. But good play, and the Panthers are really putting it to the Tigers this morning.
That was a great little dummy there. Yeah, just needs that support.
And it was good covering defence in the end, and we remain scoreless. But Sophia, how's your weekend been? It's been a hot one, certainly, but how do you feel that yourself and the team have done this weekend?
Yeah, doing really well. We've got quite a few new players this year and the Wildcats, which is really great to see. We've got 2 youngsters, Ellie and May, both playing in the middle and absolutely smashing it up, which is incredible to see. But yeah, great to have some new faces, and we have just placed 4th, and very deservedly so. So really happy about that. Weather is hot as always, but not as hot as Malaysia, so can't complain.
Yeah, how's the team, have yourself and the team really been trying to cope with that? Because it's obviously, compared to other tournaments throughout the summer, it's a 3-day tournament. So what's been the recovery like over these 3 days?
It's been good. It's been quite structured. So we've got Gary, who coached the women's 27s out in Malaysia, so he knows all about dealing with heat and recovery and 3-day tournaments or 4-day tournaments. So we've been very smart in making sure we stay in the shade, stretch after every game, and getting lots and lots of fluids on. So it's been good.
And speaking of Malaysia, do you think that out there being in Malaysia has helped you as we're looking to note just a touch before the line? But sorry, just going back to the original point, do you think Malaysia sort of helped you maybe and the team in the terms of the understanding of recovery and making sure you're well enough to go for the next one?
Yeah, definitely. I think with NTS it's 2-day tournaments, and you can get away with maybe not eating as well or not stretching out as much, but on 3, 4, 5-day tournaments you just can't get away with it. So you learn how to make sure you take care of your body on the long run. So yeah, definitely.
At the moment, we still remain scoreless in this men's.
There's been some great driving, but just not able to get that finishing touch.
Yeah, this Midlands Tigers side packed full of youth and experience.
He's through again.
Oh,
yay,
there we
first
go.
touchdown.
We've been having to wait patiently for it, but it just came in the blink of an eye. Great pace away. It was that number 9, Will Lupton, going through, representing the Nottingham Hoods, of course. And he linked up with Matty Maynard. Brilliant work in the end. And that was the score. And the Midlands Tigers are 1 up finally inside the first 7 minutes. And so how's the team after you've placed 4th? How's the side feeling then coming for the rest of the day?
Feeling pretty good, yeah. I think we're eager to see where we can get. Ideally we'd like to get 3rd, which would be great. John being quite smart there, just passing it into the hands of the opposition to get another 6. Yeah, we're feeling good. It should be good. It's just some great touch, and it's a learning curve for us. Like I said, we've got some newbies, and I think they've learned a lot in a 3-day tournament.
So the Panthers still trying to apply the pressure, making the Tigers really work hard in defence. Although here comes Sam missing. He can almost just get from one end to the pitch in the blink of an eye. Over the 10-metre mark they come. Good momentum to this attack, really putting the pressure on this Panthers defence.
Hands like wet lettuce.
Well, it's interesting actually in the early stages of the mornings here in Cambridgeshire with that dew. I don't know what it was like there this morning, but was there a bit of morning dew that just maybe created a bit problems? Yeah,
it was a little bit, but really the hands should be safe enough to get it on the ball. I know with women struggle a little bit because our hands aren't as big, but we just got to protect that ball. It's drying up pretty quick though. I think it's going to be a hot day again.
It certainly looks like as we look over the pitches here in St Ives, there's not even a cloud in the sky.
No, there really isn't.
It's going to be pretty relentless heat all day, as we've seen through Saturday and Sunday here in St Ives, as the Panthers looking to try and respond straight away. The number 11 Matthew Dites trying to get through on that occasion, the 20-year-old. Now, again,
it's a great little short.
Midlands Panthers, they've really driven hard and tried to get over the line, and they've had opportunities, and it's been a good test so far for the Tigers. To go out left, and lovely pass back inside, although the referee
touch and pass.
Yeah, and it's a turnover, and that opportunity goes a-begging. And in terms of your side, Sophia, what's it been like having, obviously, you mentioned those youngsters coming through, and it's been a big talking point this weekend about these youngsters, such a big pool of youth coming through. It must be exciting times to see these youngsters coming through.
Definitely, yeah. Well, having won 4 golds, the Euros, the under-18s. It's just so good to see. Oh, that was
lovely play. It looks like it's going to be given.
Play.
It certainly is. And this time it's Ollie Maynard and Will Lupton again, the creator. And Ollie Maynard was there to finish it off. And it's now 2-up for the Tigers. And they're now just building up a bit of head of steam now. The Midlands Tigers, they'll be looking to try and push on. Sorry, Sophia, yes, so going back to the point of the youngsters coming through.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's great to see a lot of youngsters coming through. It'll be interesting to see what the selection's like for the Opens this year, just with all of those, prepping for the next 4 years for the next World Cup. But it is incredible to see that this sport has taken off and enticing those younger players, bringing in instead of having us oldies still playing the Opens.
Has that been something you've seen over the years you've been playing, that the progression of youngsters coming through the sides has just increased and increased?
Definitely. Yeah, it's great. It's pushing us to all sorts of levels. Oh, John's through again.
Is that... what a superb pass out wide, but is it an equally brilliant touch? Just waiting for the confirmation from the referee. It looks like it's going to be...
touchdown.
What a fantastic...
great little show and go. Oh, that was lovely. Well done, John.
Stuff. Absolutely, and that's all the Panthers deserve as well. They've really tried to attack this Tigers defence early on in this first half, and I think it's just rewards for their attacking intent.
It was bound to come at some point, wasn't it? But yeah, it is great to see some of the youngsters come through. I think it will put a bit of pressure on the older people still playing in the Opens. But you look at some other sides who are other countries who are a little bit more developed. You know, they've just got that raw talent, and then they've got the speed and agility of someone nice and young.
Absolutely, yeah.
They return.
Look at that! What a response that is from the Tigers. Straight away again.
Nice little short, feeding it to the wrapper, and a great long ball.
Yeah, Luke Reed with a stellar pass out wide, and it was a comfortable finish in the end. And the Tigers instantly respond. And Sophia, do you find yourself giving that advice, just sort of naturally trying to give your advice and your tips to these youngsters as you're going through?
Oh, I do try, whether they take it or whether it's right or wrong. I've been lucky enough to captain the side of the Wildcats this year, and just trying to give as much advice as possible that I've got that I've managed to gather from 4 or 5 years that I've been playing touch. But yeah, I think now as well, because the sport's coming along, the coaches are better, more experienced, and getting quite qualified themselves, which is great. And then also the refs. The quality of the refs is improving every year, which is great to see. It needs to happen, otherwise you can't really improve the sport. Oh, is he through?
It looks like he is. Sam Missing was setting up, and he managed to find the on-runner, and it was a lovely pass.
Great pass.
And there was no stopping Thomas Wells from going on through. That's his second in the space of a couple of minutes. And after some really good early pressure, actually, from the Panthers, the Tigers are just pulling ahead now. And the Panthers will be looking to try and respond, just as the Tigers did when they went down a score. And let's see how the Panthers respond then. Straight from the tap-off. Good pressure over the 10-metre mark. Good yards made up. Looking to go just a show right and left. Good pressure from the Panthers still. Retaining the ball well. Let's see if they can do something, but the Tigers putting the pressure on.
Slight miscommunication there.
Oh,
yes.
I think they have just sneaked through, have they?
Oh, touch first.
Very good touch, and that was the 6th and final one, so that's the attack over for the Panthers. And of course, the Nationals, it's quite a unique format in the sense of course, you get players from all different clubs, don't you? So how's that dynamic been for your side this weekend?
Yes, it's been interesting. For the West Wildcats, actually, it's quite a mix. So you've got Thames Valley Vikings and you've got Oxford. Oh,
there
beautiful.
we go. And Will Lupton at the heart of it again. That's a hat-trick of assists for the Nottingham man. And
just managed to get away from his player.
And the Tigers now extend that lead and looking clinical every time they're going forward. And with under 5 minutes remaining of this first, the Midlands Tigers lead by 5 points to 1. A good first half after some early pressure from the Panthers in the opening 5 minutes. But sorry, Sophia, just going back to the point, how's that dynamic been? Because it's quite interesting having all these players from different clubs all coming together. Is it an instant sort of bond you can get, or does it just take maybe a few sessions just to get the chemistry up?
Yeah, I think it's different for each region, really. So yeah, West Wildcats, you end up having predominantly Thames Valley and Oxford players, but then also quite a lot of areas, quite a lot of people have come through, at least probably say around half, where they have clubs that don't play any NTS or potentially DTS but no CTS because they haven't really got a touch club per se. So that's always quite interesting. But then you can see the difference where you have Tigers, for example, or Scorps or Taipans, where they all play in a big club that all play NTS and they play together week in, week out. And that's where I think you can see that the dynamic between the players, they've just gelled already, whereas teams like us, we'll just get better and better each game because of actually having that experience of playing with each other. Whereas they've got that from the first game. So it's always interesting, and it's always a great learning curve. But yeah, it's just making sure that you get enough training sessions. I think it's also been quite tough that with all the NTSs, CTSs, DTSs, and then also coming back from World Cup, it's been quite grueling. And I know there's been quite a few of us that just wanted to take a few months off from touch, which I know not many people want to do, or is potentially slightly frowned upon, but
well, especially this summer, of course, as you quite rightly say, the World Cup, it almost does feel like a bit of a lifetime ago, but we've had the Elite Touch Series, of course, and straight into the developments as well, and then we've had the Junior Touch Champs, the Club Champs as well, which was a Maidenhead. It just feels that every weekend there's been something going on, which is great, of course, but it's pretty relentless stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is. It's a bit grueling. Sometimes it's good just to get a weekend or two off from touch to balance yourself out.
Yeah, I know a lot of the players have been saying after this weekend they're going to sort of just take a mini break from touch. It feels like September's a good chance to do that, is it?
Hopefully, yep. September, relax a little bit. I don't think we've got many tournaments. I know selections are being made, but for the players' side, I think we'll get a bit of a rest, go on holiday, relax our legs a little bit, try to get our mind away from touch.
Yeah, for people who are just joining us for the first time and watching touch rugby, it's a full calendar over the summer, and it will continue into the winter, especially this weekend, where a lot of the coaches for the international sides will be fine-tuning their squads and making new selections and looking out for players that could potentially enhance their teams. And it's in that aspect, it is an important weekend, isn't it?
It is, yeah, definitely. I know a lot of players are going to be looking to be seen and picked out to be able to get into that open squad or to get into a squad for the next campaign for the Euros again. All starts up again.
It does, doesn't it?
And we've got a lot of competition.
Absolutely. It's it is the beauty of all these youngsters coming through, and it's the game of touch rugby here in England just growing and growing, that the pool's just getting bigger and bigger, and you've just got to be on your A game, haven't you?
That you do, yep. Every game matters, especially those that are shown on TV.
Absolutely. And with 50 seconds remaining of this one, at the moment the Tigers in a commanding lead after some really good early pressure from the Panthers put on the Tigers' defence. Here's Sam Missing in the middle. He always seems to be trying to create something. Glenn Jones trying to go through.
Has he gotten through? Oh, the touch was made.
Important touch in the end. It was actually Matthew Sandler, I should say. Sorry. Going through then. Here is that man Sam Missing. And Jones going out right, Sam missing in support, so it's just behind him. It was a hard one to try and take in the end. But the Tigers...
Can they make something in these 11 seconds?
It would be perfect for the Panthers if they could. Some subs coming on. Hooter will be going any second now. There is that Hooter, right on cue. A good run. Oh no, touch there just to stop the man from going any further. And that'll bring a close to this first half then of our second pool match of the day. And our final pool match we will be bringing you here from Pitch 1 in St Ives. And at the moment the Midlands Tigers leading by 5 points to 1 over the Panthers. Myself, Brad Hope and Sophia Luxton will be joining you for the second 20 in just a couple of moments' time.
A three-man drive is an attacking play which we use to gain momentum. The three-man drive includes 3 players, a half, the person who dumps the ball and the runner. These 3 players will alternate between themselves in order to create each person's role within that three-man drive. So it'll start with a roll ball, the half will then pass the ball off the deck to the first runner. This first runner will then become the person who dumps the ball, initiating the touch on the defender, for then the person who previously dumped the ball to become the half. A 4-man drive is a 3-man drive but with another person. The 4-man drive can also be referred to as arrows, and what we're looking to do is the exact same principle as a 3-man drive but just to add a secondary option of the runner. So you've got 1 runner on the left, 1 runner on the right, and the half will wrap around whichever way they pass the ball, becoming the runner. The best way to complete a 4-man drive or an arrows platform is to hit one side, i.e. to pass the ball to the left, and then to pass the ball to the right, the second runner, and then the left for the third, and so on. A buddy is a 2-man play which we use to create the momentum for a 3- or 4-man drive. A buddy involves the ball being put down, stepped over, the half will then pass back to that same person and they will run straight into the 3- or 4-man drive. The Mexican standoff starts when the defensive team make their 5-metre line. The moment one person from the 6 step into that 5-metre line, the whole team then has to move forward until the touch is either imminent or initiated. The Mexican standoff has one other rule where the attacking team, if they enter the 5-metre channel, the defensive team no longer have to walk up. But until then, the defensive team have to move forward until the touch is imminent.
Forward 44! Gotta stay forward, gotta stay up! Still forward, no pulling back early. Still up, 27, stay up! Stay up! Now drop! Scoreline, girls!
Players and officials, 1 minute. Players and officials, it's your 1 minute warning. Seconds, players and officials, please take to the field, ready to play. 30-second warning. stand by.
So back underway for the second 20 minutes. And Midland Tigers looking to get off to the perfect starts in this second 20. And it was a good run by Ollie Maynard, but a good defensive touch just on the line. Looking to try and start up again. And the Midlands Panthers defend this one. Looking to go out left.
Oh, great overlap.
Brilliant play. Will Lupton just going on through. And he seems to be having a fine morning. And he's already got 3 assists to his name. And a turnover, and the Panthers do defend this one, and they're looking to try and drive up towards their own 10 metre. So a minute and a half into this second half. And at the moment, Tigers is under pressure. So I'm joined by myself, Brad Hope, and Sophia Luxon is next to me. Sophia, just actually, we talked a lot about the youth coming through, but have you seen also a great rise and increase in participation and the skill levels of the women's game as well? That must be exciting times as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people are now wanting to get into the women's only teams instead of wanting to play with the mixed, just because they're the development and the technique and the skill has actually increased so much that it actually allows them to play some good games. Yeah, instead of just having 1 or 2 players on your team.
And a lot of obviously play in the mixed format and of course just in the women's opens formats. But what a fantastic score potentially looks like. Is it? No, it's not. But it was a good build-up again from the Tigers. And the Panthers survive that one again and look to try and drive up and get some fresh
good
legs
driving.
on. Yeah, it is early. Good early burst over the halfway.
Third touch and you're over the halfway. That's team goals, that is.
And getting towards over the 10 metre mark and some space potentially to run into on this right-hand side, and it just falls short. But again, promising signs for the Midlands Panthers. And the Tigers now with the opportunities to sort of drive up and get over towards the subs box, keeping the legs fresh. Sorry, Sophia, yeah, just sort of talking about the women game in terms of playing in the mixed and of course just in the women's open. Is that quite a nice sort of getting that balance and almost how much do you have to change your styles in terms of playing for the mixed and then for the women's?
So I've never played. I've only played NTS mixed. So that's. And I'm fortunate enough to play with a few players or a few male players that trust my judgment and skills. So I actually get to play in the middles when I play mixed, which is great. Where usually you'd be playing as a link or a wing and almost be more of a driving up the pitch or not really able to do what we call the fun stuff of scoring and doing the moves. But so I wouldn't really be able to commentate that much. However, being in the women's squad, prefer it, love it, would never go to mixed. But that's just my preference. I know everyone has their own opinion on it. Just a slip there. If he had managed to stay on his feet, that would have been a great cut.
Yeah, very unlucky. That was a nice build-up play, and they were looking to try and go in for their 6th. And Sophia, of course, played trade at Thames Valley Vikings as well.
Yes.
How's one of the older clubs in England Touch? What's the development like since you've been playing for Thames Valley Vikings?
Oh, it's been great. some real development of bringing in some younger players as well. Sammy Phillips is continuously doing a lot of work for Vikings to be able to bring in some players, and I know we kind of focused on our development side a little bit more to be able to bring just to expand our squad really. And now, fortunately enough, we're very lucky. We've been lucky enough to bring Lauren, who started off in Maidenhead and Thames Valley Vikings. And, you know, she's absolutely smashed it this weekend. Yeah, she's absolutely smashed it this weekend. And, you know, she's come just from Social Touch on a Wednesday night league. So that's what you play the sport for. That's what you want to see, really.
So just over 14 minutes then remaining, and the Panthers looking to try and drive on through the middle, looking to try and get a response. It was floated out and again floated back into the middle, looking to go long and back inside, but the turnover in possession favour for the Midlands Tigers.
I think they need to get some structure back into that attack there in Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers, they really put some good pressure on early, actually, against the Tigers in the opening 5 minutes. But then since then, it's all been the Midlands Tigers who have been dominating and looking on course for another victory, unless the Panthers can do anything about it. Although the Tigers full of momentum, good flow to this attack, looking to go right, space potentially opening up. Can they weave through? Sam missing. That was lovely footwork, good body movement to go around his man, and that is the sixth for the Midlands Tigers. Well worth another look on the replay.
One side to the other. Absolutely incredible.
So quick and almost too quick for the Panthers to deal with. And the Tigers lead by 6 points to 1. And Sophia, in terms of the West Wildcats as well, how's that development sort of come through since you've been at the Nationals?
Oh, massively so. We've been, we've kind of been playing with the same players for the past 2 or 3 years just because there haven't been anyone coming in new. But now, like I said, this year, is he through?
Wow, what a little turn of pace that was. And it is Ollie Maynard going through. Well, he just saw the space and there was only one thought in his mind. And there was no one there to stop him. He could almost just walk to the line. And Ollie Maynard adds a 7th on the scoreboard for the Midlands Tigers, and they are well on course for victory in our final pool game live on pitch number 1. But yeah, just going back to Sophia, about the West Wildcats. Yeah, how's that development been over the time?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really good. Some much younger players, some new players as well, having come from different clubs. I was actually talking to some of the other girls who've been playing nationals for a few years now. Some girls in the Sharks who we played on our first day who said that was probably the best Wildcats team they've ever seen. Our driving is incredible, and we're very structured in our defence, which is great to see. So some real positives. Gary's never coached us before, so that's always great to get a new coach in as well, with some different ideas, different structure. Yeah, really positive.
Oh, the Tigers going through, and that was lovely. Almost just showed the hand of potentially playing that pass out to the right-hand side, but went in himself, and it was a lovely score in the end. Yeah, Matthew Sandler going through, and that's the 8th on the board for the Tigers. What a morning they are having so far, and high fives all around. So just a reminder, of course, our next game will come from the mixed competition, and we'll have the semi-final. We'll await to see the confirmed semi-final. We'll be showing for you live, and that'll be coming up next here on pitch number 1. But yeah, you just briefly talked about this, about having Gary Lambert as your coach. It must be great to sort of get that, almost cherry pick that knowledge out of Gary's head. And we've had Gary in the commentary box yesterday, and he said it's been really good. It's been really good weekend coaching the West Wildcats, and it must be great for you guys as well.
Yeah, it is great to have a coach just with so much experience, and great touch there. With so much experience, bringing the team, the 27s, to bronze medal is, something to shout about. Really, it's a great achievement. So yeah, we've been really lucky to have him as our coach. And like I said, he knows how to manage people, specifically women, because we all know coaching women is slightly different from coaching men. And and his just experience of being able to manage everybody, specifically with 3-day tournaments, 4-day tournaments, with the heat, nutrition.
Just having another look at this one again. Yeah, just played out wide and played into the middle. Just played to the left-hand side, and it was another glorious touch. And it was number 14 for the Midlands Tigers going through. But it looks like it hasn't counted, and the referees brought it back. So a bit of a reprieve for the Midlands Panthers then. And then in terms of yourself, Sophia, how's the summer been then? Of course, World Cup was, again, it just does feel like so long ago, but it's flown by, hasn't it, the summer?
It has, yeah, it has. You said, World Cup feels like a lifetime away. It really does. And it's trying to get the right balance of being able to relax a little bit from touch, but then also keeping your general fitness up to be able to perform in a tournament like this, where the cycle starts all over again.
Yeah, of course, this is as coaches have repeatedly said over the weekend, it's just the start of a new cycle. Of course, the World Cup, I know it's 4 years away, but it'll just suddenly creep up on everyone. It'll just suddenly it'll be there once again. Of course, the Euros not too far away as well. It's an exciting time for touch in general, isn't it?
Oh, it is, definitely, and especially with all the development that's happening with the Euros and the Junior Euros coming up. It'll be great to see what this campaign has to hold.
And actually, you briefly just mentioned about the Junior Touch Champs last weekend, and that was a superb weekend, wasn't it, for the England side? Clean sweep of all the gold medals as we see the Tigers going through once again, and that is the ninth, and they've been had to wait patiently for it and work for it.
A bit of a slip there, unfortunately. Oh, he actually got knocked over by his own player.
Yeah, just getting in the way of each other, and that just helped Nicholas Ferns go through there, and the Tigers now have their 9th on the board, and it's been a comprehensive clinical display from the Midland Tigers. Going back to the Junior Touch Champs, that was one great weekend, wasn't it? A clean sweep for England, and a lot of England-Wales matches as well. It was a real showdown between the two nations.
It always is. Yeah, it always is. It was just out of bounds there. Yeah, it was great to see some incredible skills at such a young age as well. You just think, imagine what they could be like, how they could be playing in 4 years' time.
Yeah, the likes of, especially in the women's side, Lucy Norburn, she was captaining the side out in the Junior Touch Champs, and it's seeing her playing in the National Touch Series as well, and at such a young age, it feels like she's already sort of a real key player in those sides as well. It must be really encouraging to see.
Yeah, definitely. And we're lucky enough to have May as well, and Ellie as well, who are both playing. So yeah, it's just great to see that development, and for them to then come into the open side here and play against girls who have been playing for a few more years. Their development is just continuous. Just spoke to them just now. The amount they've learned in the last 2-3 days is great. Good touch there.
Yeah, it was, and just stopping the Tigers going through on the 10th. Let's see if they can do just that, holding out at the moment. The Panthers doing well.
I think this is where fatigue starts hitting you.
Yeah, is that
Played
something?
around 35 minutes
Yes.
in this heat.
Yeah, is that something your side have sort of talked about, especially today when you've had 2 relentless days of touch rugby in this heat? And is that something you really talked about, trying to conserve the energy and keep the rotation throughout today?
Yes, we've discussed it, but also this last game that we played, it was a must-win, so it was almost give it your all to make sure we made that top 4. The next game that we play may be slightly different. Not sure who we're playing yet. It'll probably be Taipans or Sharks, which not sure how Gary's going to play it, but really we're looking to try to get that 3rd place. But yeah, you've got to be conservative in this type of weather because it does come down to fitness. You can see here just now on the replays, just running around the wing.
Yeah, nice score in the end. Tigers now into double figures. That's their 10th with 4 minutes remaining. And again, going back, it was some really good early pressure from the Panthers early on. But the Tigers have really just used all their experience and know-how. And they have their 10th on the board. Panthers looking to respond, and it was a really good reach. It was a really good dive. And, well, even though it's not going to be a victory, they've worked hard, they've kept going, and that was a well-deserved score, and it was a great early dive and a good reach as well. It's such an asset, isn't it, when you've got that long reach, isn't it, and you can really dive forward and get to the line almost a couple of yards before.
Yes, definitely, yeah, and being able to hold the ball in one hand and have it protected is definitely a massive advantage. He actually almost twisted his body sideways. It's a great skill to have.
So 3 minutes remaining then. The Tigers in control still after that score from the Panthers, but again they are just relentless and they'll want to carry on that momentum. And it's Sam Missing looking to go through. Needs that support from somewhere. Has he got it? No, I don't think the ball was down. But still the opportunity for the Tigers.
They did well to defend that, mirror that.
Sandler just sweeping over to Sam Missing. He just stops in his tracks, almost just toying with his opponent. And now onto the 5 metre mark. Here's that man Sam Missing again. He lays it off. Space potentially opening on the left. Sandler, this is lovely play. Flinged out to the left. This is lovely stuff from the Tigers, and that is an incredible score. And it was as easy as you like for the Midlands Tigers.
Yeah, that was some great play. Lots of cuts, lots of switches. Players staying deep, using the overlap.
Over the 10 metre, and the Panthers looking to try and go again. They're still full of running, still trying to attack down, and that's a lovely score.
Line.
Super stuff from the Panthers, and just getting their just rewards. Coming in at the perfect moment. Great timing.
That's a beautiful line.
And actually, a couple of the players we've spoken to over the weekend, it's a sort of a topic of conversation of trying to conserve energy, but it feels like it's sometimes hard as well because it is a game of just momentum, and you almost there isn't that just sort of switch of going, do you know what, we'll just calm it down for the next 5 minutes. It's almost impossible, isn't it?
It is, and also we all love to play and we all love to attack, and at the end of the day, anything can happen. So and also everyone's trying to get in for that selection. So you've got to play at your best all the time because the coaches will be looking at fitness as well, I guess. You want to make sure you seed at the top so no one ever really slows down. But, you have an hour or two to recover before the next game. And that's just the way it is, with all the NTS tournaments and CTS, DTS and all the way for Euros and World Cup. That's just the way it is. So our bodies, we've trained for it. We're making sure that we're okay and ready to be able to endure 2 or 3 40-minute games in the space of 5-6 hours.
So as the seconds tick down, then we will be hearing that hooter go any moment now. The 10 metre, here it is. Oh, lovely pass out to the far side. Does the touch come
great
in?
Touch.
It certainly did. So good covering, and that brings an end to our second game of the day. And in the end, a comprehensive win for the Midlands Tigers by 11 points to 2, although 11 points to 3, I should say. Sorry for the and the Panthers, after some really good early pressure, it is the experience and the class of the Tigers that come out on top in the end. Well, Sophia, thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box.
Thank you very much for having me.
And all the best for your remaining games today.
Thank you very much.
And we'll now move on to our next game, and it's now into the business end of the weekend with our first semi-final that will come from the mixed competition. That'll be coming up in around about 5 minutes' time.
stand by.
So we now move on to our third game of day 3, and this is the business end of the competition, and we are moving into the mixed semi-finals, and it's the Southwest Saxons taking on the West Wildcats, and joined by myself, Bradley Hope, and I'm delighted to say joining to the right of me is Sadie Meakin from the West Wildcats. Sadie, very
I'm from the Midland.
Midland, sorry.
Don't get that one wrong.
It's been a very busy morning here, and but Sadie, sorry, very good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very, very well, and we're moving into the business end of the competition. And how's the weekend gone for yourself?
Yeah, it's going really well. We've made it through to the semis, so we've got Sharks up in our semis at 12, which will be a very hard game to go through. But looking forward to it. We've done really well this weekend. Started down the building blocks and hoping to make the final. So
I was about to say, how's the weekend been for your team then? It's coming into the nationals. It's always a big weekend, isn't it, on the touch rugby calendar?
We started out fairly slow, but we definitely built as the days went on and the games went on. And yeah, we're up there now, so looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah, of course, getting into the business end. How does that mentality sort of change from the pool games to then playing in sort of these do or die sort of situations, isn't it?
It kind of doesn't change too much. Like you, obviously, every game you want to win and you want to put out the best performance you can do. So you're just trying to fix the things that in the previous games that you've noticed that aren't working, and just go forward from there. So just putting extra bits into place.
So 2 minutes gone at the moment, still remains scoreless between the Southwest Saxons and the West Wildcats, and this one should be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, I've watched a few of these, of the mixed games with these two teams in them, and they have been very enjoyable. Both teams attacking the line really well, so see what they bring.
And of course, it's one of the big talking points this weekend. It's just been the searing heat. How have you coped with it?
I mean, it totally feels like we should be back in Malaysia. I didn't realise we should have been doing acclimatisation training for this, but
yeah, who'd have thought of being this warm at the back end of August? Normally on the bank holiday, it's normally not the greatest of the weathers, but it's been absolutely scorching. How have yourself and the team? How have they been recovering over the weekend?
We seem to be doing fine. Obviously, it tires you out a little bit more. And you need to stay out of the heat between games. So, but everyone seems to be doing well. We're very hydrated. So,
has that been the key then? Just making sure you're just taking lots of water.
Yeah, water and electrolytes. We nominated one of our youngsters as hydration queen. So keeping it on top of it. Yeah.
And then for yourself, Sadie, of course, it's been a really busy summer. Back in the World Cup again. Lots of people say it feels just so long ago now. It feels like a lifetime ago back in Malaysia.
Yeah, it does. But
how's the summer been for yourself?
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been busy. There's been lots of touch, but I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. So
yeah, so many events, hasn't there? We had the National Touch Series, and then going into the club championships. We had the JTCs last year. There's just so much going on, isn't there?
There is, yeah, definitely, and. So this marks the end of the season, in theory, but it won't be long before we're back out there again.
Absolutely, yeah. It's of course this weekend it's an important one in the sense that it's a chance for all the players really to showcase their skills to try and get into those England setups.
Definitely.
Do you feel that as a player and as a team, is that something you talk about as well?
You don't necessarily talk about it. You just try and get the best out of all your team players, and obviously there's a lot of juniors around in all teams, and they're playing really well. So it's definitely something to build on and to push for. I definitely feel worried for my spot in the team because these youngsters are getting good. So
it's incredible, isn't it, to see these youngsters. The junior touch champs in Paris last weekend was such a remarkable couple of days, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was, and the juniors were fantastic from England, so they should be very proud of what they did. Yeah, and there is a lot of them playing here this weekend in Opens teams, which is fantastic.
yeah, a lot of them were saying that they were looking to try and get 2 golds in a week. I know Sam Missing was with us in the commentary box, and he said I think that was his 4th junior touch championships, and he finally got a gold. And he was saying he was trying to eye up to try and get a double gold this weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
And so at the moment in this one, so it still remains scoreless. It's been sort of both sides just sort of feeling the way into the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Saxons have just got a new set on the line, so we can see what they have here, see if they can get one on the board.
How important is it in these matches and semi-finals and knockout games to get the first score, even though they are 40-minute games, just like we've had throughout the weekend? Does it feel that first score is important?
Definitely. It builds the team for momentum. Like if you get scored on, like it's hard to like push yourself up to then attack and be on the forward foot. But yeah, definitely getting the score on the board first is key.
At the moment, the Saxons really applying this pressure early on, and a
new set of 6 again. See if they can produce anything different.
It's something that a lot of the players have said that it really is a bit of a killer, those repeat sets, especially in this heat.
They definitely are, and they're definitely a key part of the game where you think, have I been on too long? Maybe there's a good time to sub. Not quite there.
Yeah, the Wildcats. And is that then again, when you do survive that repeat set, does that just almost give you a little extra boost? Think.
Yeah, and really then you think I can get off the field now. I'm ready to go. Let's bring on a new set and see. It's very important to like get the forward momentum going on the drive off, so that the new set of fresh legs coming on have got good space to use.
And again, it's over the halfway line. They come, the West Wildcats. They can really stretch their legs after trying to hold out that repeat set. Doing well now into the arcing the run into the 10-metre space, potentially opening up.
A good dive there to save the touch.
Incredible touch there just before the line. And that is the turnover as well for the Saxons. And now they have the chance to try and work something up from their own half. Although, again, we've seen it a lot in this over the weekend. That real intense defensive pressure early on.
Yeah, it's really hard in this heat to get your feet going forward when you've just defended on the line and you're a bit tired already. So the defensive. Oh, good score there.
I think the Saxons they have got the first score, and as we've talked about in his first opening 7.5 minutes, the importance of that first score potentially, and it is for the South West Saxons. A good run, need the support, found the support, and the Saxons.
Martin Wright, a very experienced player there, just making it through the line and finding the right option.
Yeah, just going back to that intensive defensive pressure. How do you manage that in terms of over a weekend, especially in this heat as well?
Yeah, so you find the energy to just get up, because the harder you work in the midfield, it means that the opposition don't get on the line as easily.
And looking for that spot, so it was a lovely take and turn, but I don't think it's going to count now. Touch just on the line. It was very inventive though. It was a good idea to try and just swivel the body around, but just couldn't get there in time.
Yeah, you want to try and stop the attackers getting too far up the field, so it's easier for you to get off. So putting in the hard work easy it makes it more easier for you to get off the field. So
Saxons coming on forward, moving it towards the left over the.
I think we've seen a lot of teams this weekend go straight for the sub play as soon as they've had a turnover ball, get the fresh legs on, have a bit of a cool down.
Yeah, of course. In terms of hang on a minute, as the Saxons looking to come on forward. So unlucky. It was a really lovely move.
Created a nice overlap there, but just didn't execute.
And of course, this is a bit of a different format in the sense that, of course, you've got players coming from different clubs. How's that dynamic worked for your side?
Yeah, like I say, so we've been very lucky in the Midlands this season, because we've combined a lot with some of the other clubs to play the men's and women's stuff. So we've got to know each other quite well, which is nice. yeah, coming from different clubs and finding the right combinations of players to work with each other can be quite difficult depending on how far and wide the clubs are and how often you can get together to train.
Yeah, I know a lot of players we've had in over the weekend have talked about that pod system in terms of trying to work together. And
touch was in.
Oh, incredible touch!
Oh no,
is it incredible?
Gone for the score.
The referee's just toying with us there, but no, it is the score confirmed by the referee. It did look for a minute she was going to give the touch. I think she was just having a little confirmation for the referee. But the Saxons now 2 up inside the opening 10 minutes and in control at the moment. And just having another look, and it is the referee just chatting with the fellow referees and getting to the correct decision. And he's 2 up inside 10.5 minutes. And sorry, just briefly sort of talking about that potential pod system that people were talking about in terms of working in pairs. Is that something you looked at as well?
Yeah, we have a rotation of our mids work together in pairs, and then our links just rotate in, but it keeps the midfield quite common, like you're working with the same people, the same person, the 2 of you in the middle, which is really key because it's those 2 middles in defence that are the key players here. Oh, great hole there.
And well executed, and that's just what the Wildcats would have wanted, and that is the response, and that is down to that 1 point gap now. Again, lovely play from the Western Wildcats, and just what they would have wanted.
Yeah, it definitely puts them in good stead to come back with more momentum now, getting a score on the board.
Yeah, is that something you talk about if you are down in the game? You just sort of think stick to the game plan.
Yeah, so I tell the girls quite a lot. It's a 40-minute game, and the game is for attack. Like you want to attack, and other teams want to attack. So you have to realise that it's a 40-minute game, and that the first half, you're just finding your feet, and people do score. So you can't lose your head every time you get one against you.
And the Saxons looking to try and respond, but they get the turnover, Wildcats. And actually, speaking of those, the 40-minute games, it's amazing how much momentum can suddenly change in a game.
Oh, massively! Yeah, you can be 2 up in the first half, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything if somebody comes out in the second half and just puts the foot down. And you have to stay in the game the whole 40 minutes.
Opportunity seems like it's lost now for the Wildcats, and you can just see a bit of anguish on the face. It was a good opportunity. Saxons, she's taking a little bit of a breather, and now getting to the ball and looking to attack. Mark Knight there.
Getting the fresh legs on again.
Yeah, it's something that's coming to become a key part of the game this weekend, certainly.
Definitely.
Just keeping it rotated. And edging towards the 10 metre, over the 10 metre they come now, in fact, and looking to try and get towards the 5. And good turn of acceleration. There's some space opening up again.
Early hands on, Licky.
You can see that that's the second time they've really tried to drive to this near side.
Yeah.
And is that something you do in games? Is that something you sort of talk about when you're on the subs box, little areas you can exploit?
Yeah, so you try and attack people's short side, which is the side with the least players on. Try and attack that offside player to create the overlap. A 3-on-2 is a lot easier to execute than a 4-on-3. So, but yeah, we talk a lot about conditioning as well. So we might see that they go short side for a while and then a change of play near the end of this half or the start of next half, because they've got all the defence going one way. They might decide to put in a different move and take them the other way.
And of course, in terms of yourself, Sadie, how's the summer been for you? It's been really busy, of course, and
yeah.
And I'm sure you're looking forward to a sort of well-earned break.
Yeah, definitely. I love playing touch. It's one of the things that Martin Wright again, straight through.
Saxons now looking to extend that lead, and they've just done that. They've been forcing the initiative the last couple of minutes. And it was a lovely score, just turning the run.
All the defence there just went to the short side again, and Martin Wright just changed direction, and obviously the defence can't change direction, so he's straight through a big hole and found his own player to score the try.
Yeah, so I was just going back to the point, Sadie, but what a summer it's been. It's been so busy. And
yeah, it has, and we've had touch pretty much most weekends, and obviously with World Cup being earlier in the year, you do seem to be going on for a while. But it's good fun. I really enjoy playing. I don't. Oh,
and there we go. As soon as we see that score from the Saxons, the Western Wildcats go up the other end, and that's just the response, isn't it?
Again, the defence all going one way, thinking that they're going to attack the outsides and step back and find the space.
And they talk. Sorry, no, go on, carry on.
Yeah, it will be nice to have a break and just to get back into this swing of things again.
Yes.
have a few weekends at home.
Yeah, it really is a long summer. If you're just joining us for the first time this weekend, there's so much going on, and it really is relentless, and the fitness levels has to be so high, doesn't it? It's incredible.
Yeah, you do find that a lot of your fitness work needs to be done pre-season, because when you get into the season, you're playing pretty much every weekend, so it slows off a little bit, and obviously you want to be fresh for the tournaments that you play at the weekend.
And here come the Saxons again.
Oh, nice.
Lovely run, and was just using the winger on that far side just as a little decoy, and it was a lovely, almost just getting through. Nearly got sandwiched in between. But
the tactics of a mixed game are fairly different to men's and women's. You play the same kind of moves, but obviously you have females against males, which you utilise just like they did there, and fired up the boy on the outside of the girl.
And the Wildcats then. So 3.5 minutes left remaining, and again it's just the same situation that they've been in for the last 10, having to try and get back into the game after being 2 points down. And it's a lovely run out to this left hand side. Did they get down in time? Oh, they do. What a response. This last 2 or 3 minutes has been absolutely incredible.
1 for 1 here.
Yeah, a bit of you score, we score at the moment. One end of the pitch to the other.
You find a lot more people diving over the line these days because defences are covering, but if you get down early, there's no stopping you.
As the conditions played a part in that this weekend, of course, because when there is water on the surface, it's obviously easy to get down, I can imagine, and dive early.
It is easier to dive early when you have a wet surface, but you find a lot of people doing it no matter what, just because it's an easy try when you get down early and cross the line.
So the Saxons again looking to try and respond and looking towards his near side corner. Incredible diving touch again just before the line.
The Saxons there spread the defence really nicely. Work them one way and attack the other way. It seems to be the key.
Now left of centre, although looking to go towards his right hand side again, although opting to go try and be a bit more direct and open up that space between the middle and link. But
it's the right option, just the pass didn't quite make it there.
So how's the team then feeling ahead of the rest of the day? Of course, played this morning and trying to get the recovery in, their energy levels going again. But does it feel a bit easier when you're involved in those knockout games, in a sense, to get yourself up for it?
Yeah, I think so. And we've had a really good morning. We went out against the Southwest Saxons this morning and had a really positive start to the day. So I think the mood in camp is really positive and everyone's just enjoying it, which is a key to playing well, is just having fun with it.
Just over a minute remaining, and these are the really important times in the game, and just the moments before half-time break where a score can just suddenly build that momentum and give you a bit of a boost.
Definitely, you just want to keep control of the game, and obviously with Southwest Saxons being one up at half-time, you want to keep that going, hold it out so that they've got good momentum coming into the second half.
Well, at the moment, ball's just run dead, and it's almost a chance just to breathe a bit. It's every moment you've got, just take a big deep breath and
definitely
go again. And especially when you're having to try and work from you deep inside your own half. And again, like you said, Sadie, you're seeing a lot of these plays getting towards your subs box, and again, getting some momentum over halfway.
Yeah.
Nice little inset to the right and maybe some space opening up, but good early pressure still in the Saxons half. Looking to try and drive towards the 5 metre. Good burst of pace, and it just dies on the man, and it's going to be turned over. And only seconds then remaining of this first half. The Saxons just narrowly in front. There goes the hooter. Oh, lovely pass, but it won't matter anyhow.
The touch and pass there, so the penalty stands and you still play on for... When the hooter goes there and you one up, it's probably easier to just keep the ball in hand and take the touch and set for the...
Oh, potential opening up. Oh, what an incredible last-ditch touch. Well, I think everyone's hearts are in their mouths in terms of the Saxon side.
Like I say, keeping hold of that ball when the hooter's gone is key. Like, especially if you're up, there's no point in nearly letting one in just before half-time.
Well, at the break, it is the Saxons who just hold that narrow advantage, and he nearly let it slip before that half-time whistle. But it is at the break the Southwest Saxons who lead by 4 points to 3. Myself and Sadie will be back for the second 20 in a couple of moments' time.
In touch, you can have rolling substitutions. The attacking team will use this in their favour in order to get fresh legs onto the pitch. A subbing move will usually take place when a defensive turnover occurs. A subbing move can be anything from a backdoor play or a 3-man drive in order to get the space on the field for 3 or 4 fresh players to come onto the pitch. When subbing on, you have to enter in an onside position in what's called the gate. This is the 10-metre channel from both sides of the pitch, and you have to enter onto the pitch and off the pitch through this gate as well. A touchdown is the only way to score points in touch. A touchdown happens when the ball is grounded with downward pressure on or over the whitewash. The ball can be touched down but needs to be under control, and there needs to be downward pressure. A touchdown is worth 1 point. As there are no conversions in touch, you can score anywhere along the line, and as long as there is downward pressure and it is under control.
Penalty is as a result of an act of cheating, be it a forward pass.
Yeah, that's forward there, mate. Forward pass there.
A heavy touch. Rolling the ball forward of the mark that you had touched.
You're gonna be with me. Here's your 5th. That's off the mark.
Being offside.
Yes, 7. You're going to be on the scoreline at the touch. Scoreline! Nope, she's not made it. Okay. Need both feet on the line, please.
And also, disrespecting the referee.
Touch is made up of 3 positions on the field. You've got a wing, a link and a mid. That is replicated on the other side of the pitch, so you have 2 sets of each.
30 seconds, players and officials, 30 seconds. Players and officials stand by.
Be aware. Good guys. A little bit for me.
Break. Go. Ow. Alicia.
Yes, Messi.
Keep him out, D. Keep him out.
So back underway in the second half, and well, what a start to the opening minute in the second 20 for the Saxons.
Yeah, they came out strong there and put a score on from tap off, which is always the aim.
It's perfect response for the Saxons, especially yesterday. They were nearly actually let one go in the dying seconds in that first half.
They did, but they must have had a chat about that at half time and come out with a clear plan in mind and everyone on the same page.
Over the halfway line they come towards the 10 metre. As Saxons looking to try and come forward, spreading out towards this left hand side. Just dies in front. And now a chance for the Wildcats to try and come forward themselves. Getting over
That's
towards
a few extra yards there.
Yeah, good momentum built up towards the 10 metre. Wildcats looking to try and go through. Oh, it's so unfortunate. Just couldn't work the way in.
It's really important as you're driving out to just get your hand out and get that ball down so that you can take the forward momentum into the box so that the players coming onto the field have got that platform to go off.
And over halfway line they come. Here come the Saxons. Good driving over the 10 metre. Looking to try and get towards the 5 metre. Saxons driving on. They've started this second half really well.
Looking comfortable with their attack, they're just not quite finishing it off just yet.
No, it's
it'll come.
It will come. Yeah, the Saxons doing really well, and good pressure from the Wildcats now. They need to respond. And can they do just that? Let's have a look. Seeing getting towards the 5 metre, looking to go out left. Oh, and a really good score for the Wildcats, is it? Yeah, it looks like it, and now we're back down to 1. Just a perfect reply.
Great honesty there from the winger, saying that she didn't make that touch when she thought she had.
Just the 1 point in it then. 16 minutes to go in this second half, and we are set up for a fantastic finale in our first semi-final of day 3.
I think the games definitely get a lot closer when you get to the semi-finals. And
just couldn't take it. The pass was flung out towards this near side. And yes, it feels like in these semi-final games, when it's almost like those perfect matchups, isn't it? It just really gets intense.
It definitely does. You get the teams that kind of know each other and put a lot of pressure on in defence, and they just have a bit more structure with their attack, and yeah, they can be quite close games.
towards the 10 metre, now up towards halfway. Wildcats coming forward over the 10 metre mark now. Good yards made up. Wildcats sensing that they can try and get back into this one at all square.
Oh.
And still looking to apply the pressure. Looking to go left. Oh, and a really vital touch. Looks like, yep. And just brought back. Brilliant touch, just in the nick of time. Saxons looking to make some good yards over the halfway line.
Both teams attacking really well off their transition now and getting the distance up the field.
Again, it feels like just these slight mistakes are just sort of creeping in as the pressure is getting ramped up, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, it's been a long weekend. Games have been like they've had 3 games a day so far, and with it being the 3rd day, people are more tired than they were on the first day. So you overthink the decisions that you're making.
So getting towards the 10 metre mark, the West Wildcats. Let's see if they can try and work something here. Still applying this pressure. It's end-to-end stuff at the moment in this mixed semi-final. Oh, just can't cling on. That's unfortunate. And now the pressure back on the Wildcats to try and defend, and you can almost see the eagerness to try and defend.
Try and stop them coming out of the half.
And again, trying to work it over towards their subs box to get some fresh faces on. Oh, what an opportunity does it here for the Wildcats. Turnover inside their own half, and you can see some words being exchanged. Not happy with that one. Getting towards the 10 metre. Wildcats pushing on forward over towards the 5 minute. Let's see if they can do it. Lovely play. Is it going to count? I think it's going to.
The touch was in there first.
Almost every final touch, just a brief sigh of relief. Oh, a lovely run towards this near side, now stretching this Saxons defence again and again.
They've managed to get a penalty out of that one there, and a new set of 6 on the line here to try and score. Just having a little bit of patience here, pulling the Saxons off the line to try not to get it too close to the line when you're dumping the ball.
Pressure coming in from the Saxons. Wildcats looking to try and pounce through. Touch just in the nick of time. Again, it's almost just...
Saxons aren't quite making it off the line, not walking forward in time, which has caused another penalty here.
And here we go. Wildcats looking to try and come on forward again, putting the pressure on. Space potentially opening up. Can they go through? Dive comes early. And there we go.
Evens it up now.
5 apiece. What a game we've got on our hands at the moment.
Just using a bit of footwork there to get on the outside of a player.
And the Saxons looking to try and respond straight away. We're at 5 apiece. What a semi-final we've got on our hands. And the Saxons looking to try and respond straight away. Early setback. They had that 2-point advantage. And how does a team, when you've got that advantage, then suddenly it's paid back? How's the mentality have to change?
You kind of just have to talk about what it is that you want to work on and push forward. You don't want to change too much of your game, but just talk everyone through, make sure everyone's on the same page, and and just keep working at it. I think you find that communication kind of dies down a little bit in the second half when you've started to work, and that's kind of key to getting the end result that you want.
Got the turnover now, and a chance for the South West Saxons to get up towards halfway. Oh, and a bundle to the floor, aggressive, and it looks like it's going to be brought back. It is, and it will be turned over for the Wildcats.
Momentum has definitely shifted towards the Wildcats at the minute, and they seem to be getting a lot more time on their line.
And the Wildcats looking to try and come forward again. Well, what a turnaround this would be, coming from 2 points down.
You find if you go down towards the beginning of the game and then manage to claw it back, you do feel really strong to go out there and play confidently, and you seem to just play with a bit more confidence in the line attack and have more momentum going forward.
Wildcats looking to try and come on forward over the 5 metre.
Straight through there.
And the gap just opened up, and now the Wildcats find themselves 6-5 in front. And now, how in terms of how do you change that mentality when you've been in 2 in front? And is it just a case of you've got to just keep playing the way you play?
Individually, you need to just manage yourself and just take out all of the mistakes that have come up and just be calm on the ball. Like it'll be a struggle now for them to come back and not try and force it to try and get the score back. But that's not something that you want to do. You want to just go through your motions again and look at what's been working for you and try and do it again.
Saxons looking to try and force it over the line. Still in possession, spreading out towards the middle. But now it's just becoming a little bit tense, and West Wildcats looking to try and put the pressure on, keep them out, looking to go out wide, potentially space opening up. Oh, it's a great reach, but does the touch just come in?
Celebrating there with the winger there making that touch.
Almost as much as to celebrate scoring a try. That's just how much it means.
It does feel good when you make one of those touches and save a try.
So just over 7 minutes remaining then. Wildcats coming from that far side, looking to get towards their subs box and get some fresh faces on. Well, this would be some turnaround if they can get themselves into a 2-point advantage after being 2 down. What a second half it's been.
Yeah, you find in the second half though, you start to lose momentum and the time's obviously ticking down and you don't have another half to come back out at. It's like the final moments of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, it just feels like almost that you realise that you don't have that, almost the time is ticking down. And
yeah.
do you get told about the time when you're out there?
Not necessarily. Sometimes your coaches do keep a check on it, and I like to know. I'm one of those players that likes to know how long we've got left, but also it's quite daunting, and it can put pressure on if you do have another scoop here from Martin Wright. And he's fanned.
Fantastic. I think it's going to be confirmed, is it?
Score there.
Just waiting for confirmation here. Just having another look on the replay. It looks good.
The ball looks down there. I think she's given it yet.
She certainly has.
It's 6-all.
Going into this final. 6 minutes to go. It is 6-all. What a semi-final. If they're all going to be like this today, I think we're all going to have a big lie down.
Definitely.
Incredible stuff. Here come the Wildcats again.
It'll probably have given the South West Saxons a bit of a sigh of relief there for getting one back and having the momentum now.
5.5 minutes then remaining, 6 apiece. Who's going to, if there is going to be another score, who's going to get it? It could be so crucial.
I might see the first drop off of the tournament.
Well, if we go to that eventuality, we'll try our best to try and explain and talk you through it, although the Wildcats are trying to avoid that stipulation. It must be so annoying as a defensive unit to get beaten in the middle.
Yeah, definitely. You like to try and keep it tight and make players throw long, because there's a more chance of something going wrong when they throw the ball long. So trying to keep it tight in defence is key, but that they were just a little bit too wide there.
And Saxons looking to come forward over the 10 metre. How do they respond? It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, they kind of just need to go with what's been working for them, and which is the pickup from Martin right there.
Yeah, it seems to be their main ploy of attack. Although that is the turnover, and I know a lot of people sort of talk in tennis terms of trying to break your opposition, and
yeah, definitely.
And now a chance for the Wildcats to try and get up the other end. Oh, but this time a mistake and lapse of concentration, and sometimes that happens, doesn't it, when you're trying to run a sub move and players are coming off, players are coming on, and
definitely. And when you're thinking about getting off yourself and just having that break, you're trying to get off as quickly as you can, but you can lose concentration sometimes.
I'm looking to try and come forward again. Saxons trying to put all the pressure on the Wildcats. There's some space opening up. Need that support to go wide. Oh, unbelievable. I don't think they can quite believe that's just happened.
It's a great play.
It certainly was, and it's just that final execution just couldn't be taken. This is absolutely intense stuff. And the Saxons putting the pressure on early.
The Wildcats just need to hold on to the ball here and complete their set of 6. And they got a penalty out of that one.
Wow, perfect, just on the halfway.
That's a key thing with driving forward. The harder you can drive forward, the easier you can get people offside and get a fresh set, which gives you more opportunity to get closer to the line.
Over the 10 metre mark, coming out left. Now coming over the 10 metre, going off right. Lovely play from the Wildcats. Good defensive cover though from the Saxons. Again, they're looking to try and get it swept over to the middle as quickly as possible.
It's a turnover there. The hips went square to the try line, so it's a turnover ball. And Saxons have made a mistake there. So hips not square is just a roll ball, but the girl there just tapped it and tried to play.
Oh, what a crucial mistake that could be to give away with just over 2 minutes remaining. You feel like a try now for the Wildcats could potentially kill it off.
Yeah, also just keeping composure and just holding onto the ball here, like wasting the time and just making the clock tick down. Keeping hold of the ball will keep them in good stead. It's good composure here from the Wildcats, just getting what they need to get out of the Saxons.
It really is. They're just sort of holding onto the ball, keeping the clock ticking down. Composure. In these tight games, these are the moments where you want to try and hold on to it.
Yeah, definitely. No silly mistakes and just level it up now if the Saxons can get up the other end of the field.
Well, this is the opportunity now for the Saxons. They've got just over a minute to go. This is it if they want to try and get back to all square and get it to that drop off. Here come the cavalry over halfway. I wonder if the players know the timings. Oh, and that's just not what they would have wanted.
Just a mistake there.
Maybe it is that fatigue just coming into play.
Yeah, definitely. You'll find that does happen the later on in the day that we get.
Over the 10 metre mark. Coming out left.
Must be hot out there now as well.
Especially the intensity of this game. Physically and mentally, I'm sure. And you can see just going in over the line. Is that the score that they need? It looks like it is, and the Wildcats are on their way to booking a semi-final place with seconds to spare. That's the 2-point
Final
margin.
place, yeah, I think it's into the final after this game.
Apologies, into the final, of course. One step ahead. There goes the hooter.
Can hear the excitement there from the West Wildcats.
And we are quite a distance away from pitch number 1, and you can hear the screams of delight. And the Wildcats have booked their place into the final. What a game it was as well. Both sides really giving it their all.
Definitely. The West Wildcats just held their composure there and just kept playing for the 40 minutes, and it worked for them.
Well, what a game we have, and we've just seen, and we've still got 6 more games for you to come, and next up will be the men's semi-final, and we'll see the South East Sharks taking on the Midlands Tigers. Well, Sadie, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. If we have more games like that, it's going to be well, what an afternoon where it's set in for.
Yeah, definitely.
And so our next game will come from the men's, and it will be the semi-final. South East Sharks taking on the Midlands Tigers. Coming up next.
Just that confirmation there's no drop-offs. Reminder, at the end of each game, we will automatically do a 30-second drop-off warning. Set every time in. If your game is on a drop-off, you'll have 30 seconds to prepare. At the end of that game, no drop-offs. Fantastic game of touch going on around. 14 yard left, wide.